Welcome to the Commercial Brokers International YouTube channel. My name is Joe Killinger. I'm one of the partners at Commercial Brokers International. And today I want to introduce you to our affiliate network. We've put together a list of top-notch commercial real estate brokerages around the country that are all independent, full-service brokerages. And so I'm going to bring them on this channel one at a time and have them talk to you about what's going on in their marketplace and then a little bit about their company. So you know that you've got somebody that's a great broker in that community that you can reach out to. So make sure you check out the video, give us a like while you're there, and also subscribe. All right, Corey. Well, thank you for coming on today. You've got a lot going on in Manhattan, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're back in business.
Yeah, there's a lot. You know what? We're going to get into that. I think first, let's talk about yourself and your company.
Okay. Well, I am Cory Zelnik. My company is Zelnik and Company, and we are a small boutique firm based in Manhattan, New York City. We do all of our work throughout the 5 boroughs, which really comprise New York City as a whole. Although the perception out there is that New York City is just Manhattan, but we do all of that. I have this company now for 16 years. I've been in the business over 30 years, always on the retail side of the world. Earlier in my career, I had an opportunity to be in-house at a retailer, a little company. I think they call themselves CVS Pharmacy.
I've heard of them.
They had, yeah, you heard
a little company.
Yeah, a little company. At the time, they had 0 stores in the New York City metro market, and the job I took was to expand them here in the city, and I did. And this goes back 20 plus years or so, and we had identified about 12 locations. They moved a little bit at a slower pace back then, and then they wanted to get them open and see how they produce and see if they should make the investment, because they were paying these ungodly sums of money of $35 a square foot in Queens, which was unheard of at the time.
Yeah.
Never mind $75 a foot in Manhattan. So they wanted to absorb that, and they did. And while they were absorbing that, I was sort of in a weird place because there was no work to be done, and they knew that. And I got myself back into the brokerage business, and I took what I call a master's degree in corporate retail real estate from a hands-on perspective from CVS, and rolled that back into the brokerage business and got involved with my former partner. And we did over 200 Duane Reade drugstores here in New York City that are currently, not currently, but for the last 10 years been owned by Walgreens. But after that 10-year run, I jumped out on my own. I'm 16 years on my own, and I continue to represent retailers. Currently, names you might be familiar with: Smashburger, Panda Express, and someone who's a little bit more local but popular is a company called Lenwich, and they have about 19 locations throughout Manhattan. And I also represent one of the largest independent landlords in the city. And what I'm most proud of with that, what I call short roster, because I do have somewhat of a Jerry Maguire mentality to my approach, is the relationship aspect. The landlord, I represent his properties for the last 22 years. Panda Express, there were no Panda Expresses in New York City when I got involved. I'm with them 16 years. Smashburger now going on 7, and Lenwich 5. And so I pride myself on the relationship aspect of the business. And I've been fortunate that these guys continue to want to do things and keep me going on a regular basis.
Yeah, now you got Fuji the way it looks. So everything's coming up roses.
We like that.
Yeah. I know the agent that referred that over is very thankful that you took the time to do that. She got a great report back on you. So thank you very much for that. Let's talk about what's going on in that Manhattan market. I mean, I know that, I guess let's pull the Band-Aid off right away. Let's talk office. What's going on there? I get mixed reviews. I see, some of the agents saying, oh, it's coming back. Others, oh, work from home. What are you seeing in that marketplace?
Well, I can speak broadly, but anecdotally as it relates to the office, because, I'm a street guy, but I live it and breathe it. And I'm not going to pick up my phone and show you what's going on outside in Midtown Manhattan.
Right.
But there's been a comeback. People are coming back. We're far from being where we were,
Sure.
but they're coming back. There is a large amount of available office space throughout the market, just generally. There's a decent amount of new product, but there's also a fair amount of sublease space. Now, in the last quarter of 22, things were pretty good. So from what I'm told, a lot of that sublease space came off the market because companies were gearing up again.
Sure.
And then January, when Omicron came in, it put a real pause. It was a real hard stop pause on what I call progression from that third quarter. But by the middle of February, things were kicking right back up again. And so I'm looking at, and I made this sort of bold prediction on a radio show that I am on, because I was cornered and told to make, if I had to make a bet, that I think post Labor Day, we will be closer to full throttle.
Okay.
And so it's been inching up. I'm happy about that, but we still got a ways to go.
Okay. What about now? Do you dabble in multifamily, or do you know the multifamily market there well enough to talk on it?
I couldn't speak to it in detail, but I try to follow most everything as best I can. I think I'm an avid reader of our industry stuff, but multifamily is very hot. It's very hot. There's a lot of trades going on in the multifamily arena, from the what I would say 4 to 10 million, which is on the lower side,
right,
in terms of product. I think a lot of the larger buildings from a multifamily perspective have been challenged by the government, in that they placed about a year or two ago, they placed tremendous restrictions in terms of rent stabilization. And so that affected a lot of what goes on with a lot of these properties. It was red hot. Guys were stepping in where they knew they had potential turnover in the apartments, and that was going to be their upshot. Mm-hmm. Except they came in and changed the stabilization laws, so you can't turn those apartments over fast enough to get a return on your investment.
Right.
There were guys, all the articles here were like, the day they announced that law going through, guys like that minute lost 40 to 60% of the value of their property.
Yeah.
And so that changed the multifamily on a higher scale. But a lot of the smaller buildings where they have what are called free market apartments, there seems to be a fair amount of that stuff trading.
Are you seeing more come on the market right now at all?
I don't follow it close enough to see how much more, but I will say to you that I am regularly reading about transactions. So there's stuff going on for sure.
All right. Industrial, do you ever touch on industrial?
I do not, but because I'm involved in the retail world, I hear enough about the industrial, and it's probably number one. And I think it holds true for the country, that it's probably the number one real estate category today. You'll get a little bit of an argument, I think, from some of the self-storage guys, but I think, industrial is on fire.
Yeah, it is everywhere. You just can't find. I mean, I think our vacancy rate here in Los Angeles is 1.7%.
Yeah,
and there's just nothing available.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the numbers look like that here as well.
Yeah, I bet they do. All right, let's talk about your sweet spot, retail. I mean, you guys took a hit with restaurants. Retail's, it's got to be coming back, isn't it? Pretty strong.
Retail as a pure street front category is coming back. Retail as we used to know it, not so much. And what do I mean?
Yeah.
You've got medical, I think they created a term called medtail, right?
Yeah.
So you got medtail all over the place. And that's good from an absorption perspective. QSR still, they've remained hot throughout, and they still are on fire. I mean, I'm, because I'm a lot in that category, I'm losing out on spaces. I got companies like Raising Cane's coming to New York City for the first time, and they are and I don't work with them, their mantra seems to be, we're going to make some noise, and they've come in and raised the roof on pricing and yeah, size and pricing. I mean, their first couple of locations, their rent's going to be north of $1 million a year.
Oh,
Yep. And so there's a lot of that going on. Not a lot of that in terms of size and scope,
right.
but activity. And then you have, cannabis. They just legalized marijuana sales here in New York City. What everybody's trying to figure out is the licensing process.
Right.
So when I'm on the landlords, I don't represent anybody in the cannabis industry, but I'm on the landlord side. And so I speak to brokers throughout the industry. Oh, I got a cannabis guy.
Yeah,
okay.
We get that.
What's it? Too. Right. And so my first question as a landlord is, okay, just tell me about your licensing. Where are you? And a lot of them can't give you a straight answer because they just don't know.
Yeah.
And what happens is they want to tie up your property. And then if you never get licensed, then everybody's sort of screwed. And so it makes for a challenging negotiation. But they are taking up space. And then if you have what we call second gen restaurant, if you have a second generation restaurant, it will last about 4 minutes on the market. Yeah. The problem with it was, for so long through this COVID period, with how the administration protected the tenants, and I respect that and I understand that, was that landlords couldn't get their keys back.
Right.
And so finally, it was probably about maybe it was November, December, the court system started to open up again, and so landlords could find their way back to getting their own properties back or settling with the existing tenants. And everybody wants their hands on those restaurants.
Yeah. It's pretty much what we're seeing here in LA. Second gen locations, they come up, they're gone.
Right.
As long as they're priced right. I mean, get some that are, we want, here's a 20-year-old restaurant. We want key money of like it's all brand new equipment in there, right?
Right.
So not going to have, people aren't being stupid. They're just like, you know what, eventually you're going to have to lower that price. So we'll wait for it.
Yep.
But we got some good operators that are out there looking right now that it's kind of hard to find them a location.
Yeah, I agree. I'm out there with the guys that just want the good locations, not even the second gen. Panda Express, as crazy as it sounds, they put close to $2 million into a build out. And
wow.
Yeah, believe it or not. And so they're not looking even for second gen. They just want opportunity. Years ago, when even before COVID and all of the nonsense, I had said to some of my landlord friends and landlord reps and things like that, I was sitting at a REBNY luncheon, which is the Real Estate Board of New York.
Yeah.
They have a stores committee. So I was sitting at a stores committee lunch one day, and I forgot what the overall topic was, but I stood up and said to all of my landlord friends in the room, if you could vent it, you could rent it. And the whole room cracked up. Meanwhile, I should have trademarked it because guys use that line.
Might have to steal that one myself.
You got it. It's all yours. All yours. Just give me credit. That's all.
There you go. Well, Cory, there anything else you want to tell us about what's going on in Manhattan?
Yeah, no, I think, I think so much of Manhattan speaks for itself,
right?
Just generally speaking. But I had, our mutual friend, Carrie Bob, and some people came out to the city a few months back, and they were flipping out and loving it and seeing the vibe. And I'm a huge promoter, so I try not to get too caught in my own promotional whatever.
Sure.
But we're working our way back. There's activity here. Companies like Facebook just took 300,000 more square feet of space. So there are people and companies that believe in this city. I believe in this city, and we're going to continue to thrive. It's a ramp up process, but we're more than halfway up that hill, and so it's going to continue to be good. This is the place you got to be. If you're going to do business, you got to be here.
Yeah, well, we'll have to get a CBI office back there. That's for sure. So
I look forward to it.
Yeah. Well, Cory, thank you very much. Why don't you tell us how we can get in touch with you?
All right. Well, thank you, Joe. First of all, excuse me. You can get me on my Instagram, Cory Zelnik. You can get me at my company's Instagram, Zelnik Co, ZELNIKCO. I go crazy and tell people you can even call me, 212-223-2200. Happy to take a phone call. I'm also on LinkedIn. So I'm out there. I'm easy to find.
Yeah, we're going to put your contact information down below.
I appreciate it.
I just want to see if you do it in a rap version or not. But
All
right, Cory, thank you very much for coming on the show. Appreciate you telling us about the Manhattan market. For those of you watching, if you have questions about the Manhattan market, make sure you reach out to Cory, and thank you for watching video, and make sure you like this video. Thank you,
Thanks,
Cory.
Joe. All right, be well. Bye-bye.